Hi, my beauties. Okay, so this is part 2. I don't know if we'll actually make it to 50 because it just seems very long unless I just rattle them off. My husband and I have crossed paths many times before we actually met. He went to a different school, and I remember one game there was a guy that was carried off in an ambulance opposite team. That was my husband. He had hyperextended both his knees in the game, so they had to take him out. We both worked at Arby's at the same time but never met because we were very different shifts, and he never came to the meetings. And then when we finally did meet, everything just clicked right into place. I had a few hiccups along the way, but it was just meant to be. I have a deadly fear of spiders. Can't even... No. I've almost wrecked my car because of having a spider in my car. That's how bad. Blew my husband's phone up at work because of a brown widow that was in... No. No. I am claustrophobic, but it's not extreme. I can ride in a plane. I just got to be by the window so I can see out and know there is the outside. I can ride in an elevator as long as it doesn't get stuck. I have been stuck in an elevator a few times. You don't want to be in there with me. I am not fun because I am all in a panic and freaking out. And the last time it happened, this woman was like, there was a little opening like that. And she's like, put your nose up to it and look, until they get us out of here. So, I can speak Spanish at a child's level. And honestly, I understand more than I can speak. And it's because I have a problem with the conjugation of the verbs. I have to really, stop and think. And a lot of times I'm telling someone slow down because the cadence of the language is very fast. So I'm always slow down. My taste in music is very eclectic and vast. There are some things that I don't care for. I'm not a huge fan of classical. The jazz depends. I like a more bluesy kind of sound to it. I love big band. Some rap, but not a whole lot. So, and then there's country, pop, rock, classic rock, and all this. And so when I would burn CDs, I would get on these little tangents because I had no problem throwing a Conway Twitty on there, and right after it, Ozzy Osbourne. My husband's like, whoa, I just got whiplash. It's just the way my mind works. Okay. I have 14 nieces and nephews. And the youngest are 21. There's 3 that age. One on my sister, and then twin girls on my husband's side. I can remember all their birthdays through association. Thankfully, I did all that before the stroke, because otherwise it'd be gone. My attention is easily distracted. I'm definitely the little squirrel in, I don't know, it was a cartoon, and he's like, but I like the cookie. Because when they give him sugar, he would get all hyped up, and then, this topic, that topic, this one, that one. I just get distracted easily. I was supposed to interview for Disney Cruise Line on September 15th of 2001. Due to September 11th, they canceled the class. Then they told me I could interview if I wanted to in December, but it was only for part-time. And despite getting overtime, I was still only classified part-time when I worked there. They just never opened it up. I am ambidextrous. My right is more dominant and comfortable, but I can write with my left. I can eat with my left. I can do a lot of things. Mind you, my writing with my left is not as pretty as the right, but you can read it. I had to do that because of always springing my wrists, and so teachers were getting tired of it, and they were like, do your homework with your other hand. So, got used to it. My daughter and I are very fluent in sarcasm. And it's kind of fun, when she would go off with her friends and I would say something very sarcastic and out of character, and they're like, and then she's just right on it. She's very quick with it. I worked hard to get rid of my Southern and East Coast accents. Sometimes if I'm around someone with a Southern accent for a very long time, it'll start slipping back. But me, my mom, and my sister went to Ohio because my grandmother wasn't in good health, and we wanted to see her, spend some time with her. And there was this dog outside of her house, and I was on the phone with my husband, and I'm like, you should see this dog. I'm like, he's a pretty little thing. He's like, thing? I'm like, don't start. I'm like, that I'm picking up on this because I was there for a long time. The East Coast part, just certain words that come out, you can pick up on it. I visited Independence Hall when the Bell was still in Independence Hall. It is now in a field across from it in a glass case, so you can no longer touch it. I was 7 because it was during the bicentennial. So I was 7 years old. And I didn't know at the time. They told me to touch it, so I did. And they're like, oh, you broke it. Tears. I'm like, Mom's going to kill me. And they're trying to calm me down, and tell me I didn't do anything, you know, but I don't like confrontation. However, if it involves my kids, I become very fierce. I don't put up with them being insulted or harmed in any manner. And it doesn't matter who it is. I will defend them at all costs. I do love with all my soul when I love someone. You know, my family, friends, and everything. And I need to have peace around me. When I don't, I get very anxious. And, you know, lately my husband's been very stressed, so I've been on edge. I was named after two of my aunts, my mom's sisters. My mom wanted to name me Andre Marie and call me Andy, like my grandfather. My dad said no. He said, what about Mary Jane, after his sister? My mom was like, no. So there was Linda Carolyn and Virginia Lee. And we got Linda Lee out of that. I am fiercely loyal. So when I strike a friendship, I am very loyal to that. I intend to be called Grandmama, like the Addams Family. I've sat, you know, my husband and I, we've talked because, you know, he wants to be, you know, granddaddy like his grandfather. And I'm like, I don't want to be granny or grandma or, you know, I want to be grandmama. Just like that. My family is the most important thing to me. Again, that loving with all my soul, that fierceness, the loyalty, everything just goes into it. I have no idea. I just wrote it kind of weird. My favorite childhood book growing up was Goodnight Moon. I've always loved it, and I tend to get it for any grandchildren I might have. We're not there yet. I adore all animals. You know, my husband and I, we've talked about if we win the lottery, getting some land so I can start a sanctuary. And I told him, I want a bat house too. He's like, bat house? I was like, yeah. I love the bats. You know, I wouldn't mind rescuing wild animals. And, you know, and I've told him too, because he's like, you know, we could get a cow and, you know, have the meat and everything. And I was like, no problem eating cow. But you need to have it far enough away, because once I interact with it, see it, hear it, it's a pet. It is no longer food. It is a pet. So, one of the things that I wanted to do when I was really, really young, I was like 5, I wanted to be an Olympic figure skater. But my mom didn't want to, you know, it's a lot of hours, a lot of sacrifice. You know, we were in an area where wouldn't have to travel too far, but it didn't work out. I don't cook. I'm not that kind of wife. My husband does all the cooking. He loves to cook, so we're good there. Looked like an idiot for a moment. I would like to be more assertive, but I'm more passive. Again, it's that not wanting confrontation. My sister is my hero. No matter what we went through in life, we had each other. And she and I can fight very viciously. However, we can fight just as viciously for each other. When we lived in Indiana, we lived 10 miles from town, and town wasn't nothing. This boy, he was already close to 6 foot. He was really tall. Me and my sister are not so much. But he kept picking on me. My sister chased him off the bus. No clue how he managed to get home. Hopefully he did get home. I generally call my sister first for anything major in my life. I still remember some dreams from my youth. A lot of them were nightmares, and they just kind of scored their way into my brain. I do have to rein myself in with some restraint, fight the urge to always correct people's grammar. English was my strong suit in college, and you know, I see tweets and Facebook posts and stuff, and I'm like, wrong. So I have to fight that urge, because no one likes someone that corrects them. I do prefer someone to be straight with me rather than telling me things that they think I want to hear. I'm very straight with people. I hear something, I go straight to that person and ask if it's true. But I rather, no matter how much it might hurt, I'd rather somebody just be straight. And we're at the last one. Oh, yeah, and this is so true. I don't get anywhere near enough sleep. I'm doing well if I can get 4 to 5 consecutive hours, which is why it's always so purple right here. This, not so sure what's going on there, but right in here, that purple, it's lack of sleep. There was a time when my husband took me to the ER because it was like 2 weeks, I think. And in that 2 weeks time, I, would get like a power nap, 15 minutes maybe. I would drift off for about 15, wake up, and be up for another 18, 19 hours. When my dad died and I went to Florida, it was just shy of 3 straight days of no sleep. So I have issues. And even taking melatonin, some of the pills, allergy pills, some of the ones that I normally take will knock me out. I'm on muscle relaxers. I'm on anxiety meds. It's kind of a as needed. But even when I take one, I don't really get sleepy. Now, the times that I've had to take 2, when I get the injections in my back or I have an MRI because claustrophobic, and we don't do well in the MRI. So we need to take something to relax. My doctor has told me, taking 2 in a situation like that is fine, because I rarely take them anyway. But anyway, that's it. If you like what you saw, ring the bell, smash a thumbs up, leave a comment, tell your friends, have them subscribe. Trying to get up to 350 so that I can do a big giveaway. Not sure yet exactly what all it's going to have, but I would like to have some bigger names in it. I can't promise. But we need to get the number up before we can figure out what it'll be. So until then, goodbye, my beauties.